everybody. So last night, the Vegas Golden Knights defeated the Minnesota Wild in Game 7 to finish up their first round series. And Vegas now moves on to face the Colorado Avalanche as the second round series in the West Division is set. And that means that it's time for another series preview here as we look at Colorado against Vegas in round number 2, playing for a chance to represent the West in the Final Four of the NHL this season. So before we get into it, I just ask you to please subscribe and hit that thumbs up if you haven't. It helps the channel so much and is greatly appreciated. But let's get into it here, looking at the Avalanche against the Golden Knights. What a series this is going to be. I think this was a series that a lot of people wanted to see happen when the playoffs started, and we are very lucky enough to get it here, as Colorado finished the year with a 39-13-4 record, 82 points in the West, and they won the West Division based on the tiebreaker, which was regulation wins. During the regular season, they went 4-3-1 against the Vegas Golden Knights, so obviously it was a very evenly split regular season series, and I think that this playoff series is also going to be very competitive and very close. Colorado is coming off a first-round sweep of the St. Louis Blues, where they just absolutely dominated the Blues from start to finish. That series was never in doubt from Game 1 on, and Colorado's looked really strong out of the gate here in the playoffs. The Avalanche had the best offense in the NHL during the regular season. They scored 3.52 goals for per game. They also scored a lot of goals against the Blues in round number 1. The offense is absolutely firing for the Avalanche, and that is going to be something to really watch in this series. Is can Vegas's great D shut down the Avs offense a little bit, or does the offense win out? Even though they're a great offensive team, the Avalanche are also a very good defensive team, as they only gave up 2.36 goals against per game in the regular season, which was third best in the NHL. They're really solid at keeping the puck out of their own net as well. They have a really good D-core, and obviously Philip Grubauer in goal has had a phenomenal year this season. Should be in the Vezina conversation, and he had a very good first round against the Blues, and we'll see, that should carry over here into this series. It's going to be fun to see these two teams meet up. Special teams wise, Avalanche are pretty good in both aspects. They've got 22.7% on the power play, which is 8th best in the NHL. And on the penalty kill, they are 83.1%, which is also 8th best in the NHL. Again, those are regular season numbers. So they have a pretty solid power play and penalty kill, top 10 in the league, and they're a good team on special teams. Switching things over now to the Vegas Golden Knights. They went 40-14-2 in the regular season, tied the Avalanche with 82 points, but ended up missing out on the tiebreaker, so they ended up finishing second in the division. They went 4-4-0 against Colorado this season in the regular season series, so obviously pretty much split the games in the regular season, and this is going to be a very tight matchup, I think, again, here in the playoffs. They are coming off a 7-game series win over the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota made it really tough on the Golden Knights. They pushed really hard and were almost able to take it, but Vegas comes away with a big win in Game 7. And that allows them to move on to this series. So hard-fought first round for the Golden Knights. It's going to be interesting to see. Colorado's had a really long layoff. Now they're going into this series, whereas Minnesota has not, Vegas playing Minnesota really doesn't get any sort of a break. They just play on Friday, get one day off, which is the normal schedule, and then they're playing again on Sunday. So it's going to be interesting to see how the teams look in game number 1. Which is better, the long layoff that Colorado got, or just keep on rolling, playing every other day like we're seeing with Vegas? Now, Vegas's offense in the regular season was very good. Not quite Colorado good, but very good. They were third best in the NHL with a 3.39 goals for per game. Now, the offense wasn't as potent against Minnesota in the first round. Obviously, they scored 6 goals in Game 7, so it got going. But there were some very low-scoring games in the Minnesota series for the Golden Knights, and Minnesota played them very tough defensively, so it's going to be interesting to see what does Vegas's offense look like against a very good defense in the Colorado Avalanche. Defensively, though, you know what you're going to get with the Vegas Golden Knights. They gave up 2.18 goals against per game, which is first in the NHL in the regular season. They were the best defensive team. They had the best goaltending. They do not give up a lot of goals. So when you look at this matchup here, you have the top offense in the league in Colorado going against the top defense in the league in the Vegas Golden Knights, and you have the third best offense in the league in Vegas going against the third best defense in the league in Colorado. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup here between two teams that are very good at both ends of the ice. Now, the power play did struggle a lot for Vegas in the regular season. They only operated at 17.8% on the power play, which was 22nd in the NHL. That is an area of concern. Avalanche definitely have the advantage there when it comes to the power play in this series. Penalty kill, though, advantage Vegas. 86.8% on the PK, which was best in the NHL this season. Another area of the game where Vegas really, really excels. So, looking at this series as a whole, this is going to be extremely tight, extremely close. I think it's going to be one of the best series of the entire playoffs. Again, this was one I think a lot of people were hoping that we were going to get to see. Really, really looking forward to. And I think that whichever team is able to win this series has a really good shot of going to the Stanley Cup Finals, because these are two of the absolute best teams in the NHL from the regular season. They both were able to obviously win in round number 1. Colorado had it a little bit easier than Vegas did, but still, Vegas was able to get the job done. And they got Max Pacioretty back, which is huge for the Golden Knights. He is such a difference maker in that lineup, where he didn't play for the first 6 games of that Minnesota series. He comes back in Game 7. He scores a goal. Vegas wins 6-2, really takes control. And Max Pacioretty being back, I really think is a huge boost to the Golden Knights, particularly their offense. And that's going to be something to watch against Colorado now that he is back in the lineup. So there's so many great parts about this matchup. I think it's going to be a really fun series. I think Colorado has a slight edge offensively. I think Vegas has a slight edge defensively. You've got a goaltending matchup between the Marc-Andre Fleury of the Golden Knights and Philip Grubauer of the Colorado Avalanche, both who could be Vezina Trophy candidates this season and could be finalists for the Vezina this year. They both had tremendous seasons. Special teams, obviously, the power play for Vegas wasn't very good this year, but the penalty kill was phenomenal. And for Colorado, they were pretty good in both aspects. They weren't great in either, but they were top 10, 8th overall in the league in both aspects. So, they're really solid all around. This is going to be a really good series, a really, really fun one to watch. You've got 2 top-tier NHL teams going at it here, and I cannot wait to see which one's able to come out of this with a win and which one is unfortunately going to be going home a little bit earlier than they were hoping for. Obviously, Colorado, with what they were able to do over the Blues, really looking dominant right now. But Vegas, they pulled it out against Minnesota, and they got Pacioretty back, which I think makes a big difference. That could end up being a boost for Vegas heading into this series. As far as a prediction goes, this one is really, really tough. I have Vegas winning in my bracket, because I have Vegas winning the Cup in my bracket. But at the same time, Colorado was so dominant in that first round over the Blues. I'm really starting to lean Avalanche in this one. So I think I'm going to differ from my bracket that I made at the beginning of the playoffs with this series, and I'm going to take the Colorado Avalanche in 7 games here. I think it's going to be a really close series. It's going to be a really hard-fought series, but at the end of the day, I love the way that the Avalanche were played in that first round. I loved the way they played right at the end of the season, coming out, winning those last few games to get first in the division and go in as the 1 seed in the West. And, man, playoff McKinnon is something else. I'm going to go with the Avalanche here. I think it's going to be really, really tight, really, really close. But I'm going to say Avs in 7, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But this series starts up on Sunday night at 8 p.m., and I'm going to be watching that for sure. Cannot wait to see these 2 teams get going. And this is going to be a great one. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon, merchandise store, donation link, and memberships are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.